Welcome back. This morning we're going to set aside the feel-good vibes because it is a tragic day in South African sports. You would have heard over the social networks, it certainly dominated, and headline news throughout the last week. Burry Stander, one of our greatest cyclists and endurance athletes I think that the country has ever produced, was sadly knocked down by a minibus taxi, and sadly with his father present. Now Mike Finch, the editor of Run's World, joins us. A tragic occurrence for South African sports, but I think more so for his poor family and friends. He was an incredibly well-loved individual. You yourself have obviously built a wonderful relationship with the man. What does this mean to you, Mike?
Well, we were just saying off air just a few moments ago, we did an interview with him about 2 years ago. We spent the whole day with him, and he's one of those guys that's kind of shy when you first meet him, you know, and but he kind of opens up as you interview him, and he was, you know, he's a very inspirational person, very humble. I know we always talk about people when they passed away that they're always like this, but he is one of those genuinely humble guys, and he's very focused on what he had to do. And I think the big sadness is that many people felt that he hadn't reached his true potential yet, that he was one of those guys that was going on to win a gold medal at the Olympics in Rio, and that he was going to do greater things. And there was talk about people saying that he would be potentially a Tour de France champion, like Cadel Evans was. Cadel Evans was a world mountain bike champion, moved onto the road and became the Tour de France champion. So, you know, where Burry's life would have gone if this hadn't happened, who knows, you know. And I think that's why the sadness of this is so heartfelt by the cycling community and the sporting community in South Africa.
Yeah, in a year where the image of cycling has taken such a massive knock, this new breed of young athletes like Burry, they really had painted a very different picture about the future of cycling and where it was headed. What does this mean, not just for South African cycling, but globally? What does it mean for the sport?
Well, in an interview we did a couple of years ago, I remember talking to him about the drug saga, you know, could you do the sport cleanly? And he said he was absolutely adamant that no matter what anybody said, he was going to do it cleanly, and he had done it cleanly. And as we know, he was 5th Olympic Games, he's won the World Cups, he won the World Under-23 Championships, so he was capable of doing it. But I think most importantly from a South African perspective is that they always had the best form of development is to create heroes, and he was one of those. And I think there's so many younger cyclists that have come through and shown themselves to be world class because of what he did. And he showed South Africans that they could compete on the world stage and be very competitive and win races. And that's what that legacy will still continue, I think, because of him. And I think that's the legacy that he leaves behind. His career was about him performing, but also about showing us South Africans that we could compete.
A true champion spirit as well. We spoke about the humility of the man, but you could see in his eyes when you interviewed him that mind was always trained to the next big event. The Cape Epic is something that he has dominated. That in itself took 4 years, where he had gone through a real trial to get that win eventually, but he had proven what a real champion is. This has highlighted how often cyclists are overlooked on the roads, certainly from a safety perspective. What do we need to take out of this? What is the message that needs to be sent out now to the greater community?
Well, I think we always talk about the safety of cyclists on the road, and I think over the last couple of years it's been highlighted. We've got in the Western Cape here, they want to legislate a law which ensures that road users must go at least 1.5 meters around a cyclist on the road. I think if that becomes part of the Western Cape legislature and the laws here, then hopefully that will continue around the country. But I think when somebody of this high profile gets involved in an accident and gets killed, I think it raises that awareness probably more than maybe somebody isn't as well known, as sad as it is. But in a way, I think his legacy what has happened, we've seen this in the outpouring of grief with organised rides, you know, from Johannesburg to Durban down to Yonkers yesterday, you know, thousands of riders coming out in support of it. And I think that because of this, drivers will become more aware, and cyclists will become more aware themselves of showing that they don't
I was going to say, because surely that is a big part of it. As much as you want to put the onus on the drivers, cyclists have to look after themselves out on the roads. We're a lot more conscious of it down here in Cape Town because there is so much of a culture around it, but in the rest of the country maybe not so. What message can cyclists take out of this? What do we need to be aware of?
Well, that's the whole thing. I think a lot of people say it's, you know, the cars versus the cyclists, and I think both parties have a responsibility, and I agree. Cyclists are renowned for going through robots because they think they're cycling, they're above the law, they ride 2 or 3 abreast when they're riding on the road. You know, that sort of behaviour, you're asking for trouble. So cyclists need to respect the laws of the road for sure, as much as we expect the road users and the car drivers to make sure that they respect us. But I think it's about tolerance, and I think it's about awareness. And obviously, the more that this campaign can grow in stature, people putting stickers on the back of their car, all those sort of things, just raises that awareness, and hopefully that awareness will reduce the number of incidents that we see in the next future.
Well, Mike, I'm really sorry that we had to connect under these circumstances, but great to connect with you at this early stage of the year. All the best. I'm sure you guys will be featuring something on Burry as well in the manner. Have a fantastic 2013. Remembering the incredible and very, very short, wonderful career of Burry Stander, we can only imagine what he would have gone on to achieve, but a true, true champion spirit there. Captain Ewan, guys, what do you think?
It's so true.